I'm going to chop off my golden retriever's male member and just make an incision and turn my golden retriever into a female. Well, I'd probably get arrested. That'd probably be considered animal abuse, and PETA would show up, and I'd have protesters outside my house pouring blood on my lawn, saying, how dare you sexually abuse and mutilate an animal. But if you do it to your kid, it's considered loving and liberal. Dr. E. Michael Jones, how does this exist? How do we live in this strange cultural paradigm where sexual abuse and psychological abuse is accepted as long as it has the label of liberal on it?
The short answer to that question is gay marriage. Now, what is gay marriage? It means that two people who cannot have children now have the right to call themselves a family, and because they have the right to call themselves a family, they now have the right to have children that they cannot have. Okay, well, where are these children going to come from? Well, guess what? You're going to have to buy them, because that's the only way to get them if you're not a male and a female in a regular family. So what you're doing here is turning the child into an object of consumption. It's a lifestyle gesture now. It's like buying a certain type of car. You own that child now. It's not something that you brought into the world with the collaboration of your spouse and God.
No, hold on, though.
You own that. You own that child. So the state now can confer on you the right to have a child, which you cannot do by yourself as two males in this homosexual, whatever it is. Okay? So if you can own this piece of property, which is what it is, I mean, this is the return of slavery. That used to be that you could own people, and when you own people, you can do whatever you want with them. And so in this instance, you can project your own fantasies, your own sexual fantasies onto the child and say, well, since I'm transgendered, I can mutilate this child to have that child conform to me, to my image of myself.
Or, hey, I wasn't accepted growing up.
That's exactly what's happening here. Now, in a normal marriage, no one would have this right, because you knew that this was there was a God-given order here. The basic manifestation of this God-given order when it comes to sexuality is male and female. Well, you've already said, now you're saying that doesn't mean anything. Male and female is purely a figment of my mind. Okay, now if you make this a figment of my mind, then your mind has hegemony over being, and you become God. And you
now
can
this
play
is another key here.
By changing the gender of this child. It's not quite that simple, because there's always going to be some type of authority. And what you're saying is that you can play God. Okay, if there's no order, then order becomes a function of the desires of the rich and the powerful. And these are the people that we call oligarchs. They take the role of God. And when they become God, you don't have any rights. Okay, because there's no nature, there's no God, there's nothing you can appeal to, there's no moral law. All you have is the opinion of the rich and the powerful, who confer privileged status on certain groups like homosexuals, and then put the power of the state behind them to allow them to implement their agenda.